Yeah. Hello. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I see people starting to come in already. We'll just give it another minute for everyone to join. You already have a lot of people joining. We have our special guest with us. Let's just give it another couple of seconds. If anyone can just let me know if you can see the screen, if everything's all right, if you can see the FunTech title. Yes, thank you, Mark, for that hand up. Great to see everybody. Welcome. We will be starting right now. We also have Dale, Bogdan, and Reza in the house. Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining. So today, maybe a bit about fun. It's not all about fun and playing games, but it will be a lot about this subject because let's face it, it's been let's say difficult last few months, and we all deserve some fun. We also maybe are fed up with the word webinar, and still we thank you all for joining. We know that there's been a lot of webinars going around, and that's why we decided to do something different, to try something different. And today is that day where we're trying a different type of live event. So today we call it FunTech. It will be part webinar, part live event. We have with us Dale Warner, who is president of MBI Systems Corp, and he'll be telling us a cool story about how low-code and technology helped him not necessarily on the business side, but in a moment of let's say more personal needs and more need for fun during the last period. And we will be actually going to talk about the practical applications of co-browsing, of building actual browser game. And after those practical applications, we'll even get to see a cool little case study around rock, paper, scissors, where everyone in this webinar will be able to join. And of course, at the end of today's hour together, we'll have a cool Q&A session. We are lucky to also have Bogdan, our PantanApp CEO, with us, and Reza, who is leading product development in PantanApp. And we'll get to ask a lot of questions about low-code, about co-browsing, and also about technology in general. So without further ado, today's special guest is Dale. He's been an IT consultant for more than 30 years now. And he's been, I think, changing his game with every new year. And I think in the last 5 or so years, it's all been about low code. It's all been about acceleration. And he has some cool stories to tell you and some cool things to show. So without further ado, I'll give the word to Dale, PantanApp partner and president of MBI Systems Corp.
Well, thank you, Alex. Good morning. Let's see. Can you help me where I can share my screen so I can work through the presentation? Tell me I can't start until you stop.
Yeah, sure. I stopped my share.
Great. And so let's and if you can just confirm that we're back on the same slide. Yep.
Yes.
Okay, great. So yes, as Alex said, I am Dale Warner. I'm president at MBI Systems Corporation, and at heart, I'm a business application developer. And over the last many years, I've been doing that with a CRM focus. I've used a lot of different languages like VB scripting and .NET for both web and desktop applications. But in the last 5 years, I've been focusing on low-code applications. And just quick examples of some low-code that I've gotten into. Did a multi-phased application for employment where Job applicants can start an application, and then they're invited back to fill in more and more of the application as they, so long as they continue to qualify. And that allows the company to reserve the most confidential details to the end of the process. So that was a larger application that I was involved with. But he was also involved in using it for smaller tasks like integrating between systems, where the CRM system, a change on the CRM system is reflected into HubSpot, a separate system, so that as a change gets made in the database trigger fires, and the other system is updated immediately. And another cool one is using Google API to geocode address records as they come in, kind of behind the scenes. As soon as they come in or get changed, we assign latitude, longitude, and place ID. And that's something I'm going to come back to. We have, I have a training resource on my website that talks exactly about how to do that. But overall, what we do is software tailored to the business need. So just a quick overview of what I'm going to present today is a low-code browser-based domino game for 4 players. And in that, I had to solve the co-browsing problem of, hey, I moved. When one browser, when a user in one system moves, you want all the other systems to be updated. So that's really the technical part of what we'll cover today, co-browsing. And that touches on, I'm going to do an overview of subscribing and notifying when events happen in different browsers. And we'll touch also on implications of the technology, what else you can do with it. And as Alex said, we're going to do some fun and games with rock, paper, scissors. So the story that got this started is that I've been long playing, my wife and I play this 4-player domino game with other people, with other couples over the, in the evenings, weekend evenings. And when COVID-19 came along and social distancing is the word of the day, we couldn't get together anymore. So I set out to find some alternatives. How could we play online? And the things that I was finding is either nice 1-player games where you play against the computer, or something that required a big game engine to be installed, which wasn't really going to work in our scenario. So because I use Plant an App and the DNN Sharp tools extensively in my job, I thought, well, okay, I know that I can use these tools because I can develop about as fast as I can think about it to be able to create my own game. And I did that using these solid and reliable and familiar tools like Action Form and Action Grid. I knew that those would play a key role in building the game. But I also knew that there are so many more tools in this Plant an App toolbox that whatever I encountered would be something that I could overcome. So I just dove in and developed this game. So I just want to mention, in a minute, we're going to have a demonstration of this game, and the link to that is up at the top. And you get a choice. You can either follow along on this presentation, you'll be able to see everything. But if you want to experience it, you can use that link, and I think Alex is going to put that in the chat window for me. But I just want to point out, if you type it, the T is the capital, has to be capital T, or you'll go somewhere completely different thanks to Bitly. So if you want to head there now, I'm just going to talk about what is Texas 42, just so you can kind of understand what you're going to see. So it's a game that's played with 28 dominoes, double 6 dominoes. And is played with 4 players where partners sit across from each other. Each player gets 7 dominoes, and there's a round of bidding, and you bid between 30 and 42 points. So whoever gets the highest bid, whoever bids the highest gets to call trump and lead out, and probably much like spades or other games that you've played. There's 7 tricks, and the winner of each trick gets to lead out on the next trick. At the end of all the tricks, you get to compare the points that you've taken on the board versus the bid that you made, and you either get a mark or you don't get a mark. The other team gets a mark. First team to 10 wins. So historically, this game is kind of a Texas game. It was invented in Garner, Texas, by two boys where they were playing dominoes. Playing card games was frowned upon, but dominoes was acceptable. So they adopted a card game into a domino game, and that's where it came from. So that's the quick background, and I'm going to switch over and do a demonstration here real quick of what the game looks like. And so this is the spot where you're welcome to jump into using the link, or you can just follow along. So what I've got going here is the game surface that I developed. And so the big green area is where the game is played. You'll see off to the right, there's a chat area. And while we're talking about the chat area, if you're following along, I would love it if you would go to the chat message and just type hello from and either a name or where you're located, and we'll see the chat feature work as we go. Hello, Jen. Okay, and Mark. So keep on going with that while I keep talking. In the game surface, there is your tile rack, and so I can see the tiles that I have, the dominoes that I have. And in the top area, that's the common area. Okay, we're all over the place. Barcelona, Austin. Hello, Ben. Okay, so then at the bottom of the screen, there is the tricks that are taken. So there's the us and the them area, and you'll see that in action in a second. And then at the right, bottom right, there is a control area where shuffling and whose turn it is to shuffle takes place. So let's see this work. If I play, and I see a lot of you are watching along, so you're going to be able to see this. If I play the 2 blank, it advances to the top of the screen, makes a noise, and as the player, I can pull that back if I want to. You'll see I'm playing as Dale on seat 1, but I actually have 3 other browsers going, so I can play all the seats. This is just to simulate how the game would be played. So if a 2 is played, then I've got to play, each player has to play a 2 if they have it. And so we see Sally playing, and Joe doesn't have a 2, so he can play anything. And now we go on to Gene, who plays a 2. And so the highest 2 played was Sally. So Sally gets to take the trick. So we have a take the trick button. And so you'll see down at the bottom, the trick moves away from the playing surface and moves down to the bottom. And then Sally gets to lead out. Sally is going to lead out with a double 3. I'm not going to play all this, but I will play 2 hands just so you can see how this works. Wow. I'm playing badly here. This is I'm actually going to play that, and just for those who stuck around and are watching, I'm going to resize this just a second so that you can see how this playing when we play on one screen, how it goes to another screen. So as soon as I play over here, it jumps over here. It shows up on all the screens all at the same time. So that's the playing surface. And as after each player has played, and whoever takes the trick, and so now we see that the screen refreshes and we have 2 tricks down at the bottom. So the game progresses until until all the dominoes are played. Along the way, you could chat if you wanted to. And so this was my substitute in the era of social distancing. There's not much logic built in. It's really all about moving the dominoes around on the screen. we had a Zoom meeting going as we played so that we could talk and chat and heckle each other as we made plays. So that's the game that came up with, and that's the main focus, what got this topic started. So at this point, the demonstration is over. If you'll click back to the Zoom meeting, I'm going to resume the presentation. I can find it here. Okay. And this is a good point to mention that we'd be happy to take questions along the way. If you have any questions, please put them into the chat window, and we'll answer them.
Yeah, or feel free to use the Q&A section at any time. We'll be answering questions from both chat and Q&A.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I said the wrong thing.
Okay.
Yep.
The right thing.
So in all of that, the main thing, I mean, all of that was very solvable with database and grids and forms. But I knew from the start that the biggest problem that I was going to have was co-browsing, that hey, I moved problem, where we wanted browsers to be updated in real time when a move was made. So in all that, there's various game elements, the dominoes that are played, the chat window, but all the elements have the same problem. We needed to have efficient and real-time updates. And so I went on a search and found a product called pusher.com channels, and that's what they do, provide real-time notifications. And so I set out to figure out and how to implement that, and got it into the game. So in this next section, I'm going to talk about the notifications that I set up for chat. It really works the same for all the different segments of the game, the gameplay and taking tricks and whatnot. But with chat, that's probably the easiest place that I can show you what that looks like. So I'm going to switch my screen again into showing you a little behind the scenes, how that works. And if I'm almost competent with Zoom, so give me a second. Okay, here we go. Hopefully you can see my behind the scenes view of the system, and I'm going to open up within the action form menu. I'm going to open up this form, the chat form, and so we'll take a look at that. And all the fun really happens on the save button. It's a place to put in the chat message, but on the save button there is we do some actions. We put the chat message into the database, we clear out that field so it's empty, and then here's where the magic takes place. We evaluate a token called Texas 42 notify chat, and if I jump over here and look at what that token looks like in the My Tokens product, it's doing an HTTP request, and the HTTP request is to talk to the MBI game server and say that on game, whatever game I'm playing, so in this case it would be game 17, but it's notifying that this game has a chat event has occurred. So that's the kind of the behind the scenes on how that works, on how I signaled the notification. And I'm going to flip over and also show you that that's the notification that says something has happened, and then a little look at the JavaScript code that's also on the page that handles chat, where we just say that when a chat thing happens, we play a sound and refresh a grid. And so all this is the behind the scenes work on how that happens. So let's see, I'm going to flip my presentation back to this and just kind of show you the same information in a overview. So somebody types in hello from Dallas, Texas. We notify the server that something happened on a chat happened on game 17, and pusher.com does all the work signaling, saying every player that's listening, tell them to do something. And so all the other subscribers get that message. And from the subscription side, each player's browser is subscribed to channel 17, channel game 17, so that when Pusher signals to them, they get they get some code that runs, and they can figure out what happened. What happened was, in this case, the chat event, and the chat event does the audio and refreshes the action grid. And so the result is that hello from Dallas, Texas shows up in the action grid because it's refreshed. And that happens for everyone that's subscribed to the game. So I got a little bit out of order. I showed you the peek behind the scenes before I showed you the overview. I hope that wasn't too confusing, but that's the kind of how it happens there. And so overall, there is subscription that takes place. Everybody who needs to be updated subscribes and waits for notification to happen. And when that happens through Pusher, then actions can take place.
Yeah. Great. Once again, don't forget to use that chat window for questions. We'll be gathering them till the end.
Great, thank you, Alex. So, you know, it's good to do this in fun and games, but what happens, what's a practical solution what's a practical example of how this could happen? Well, if you were tasked to do a restaurant ordering system where somebody's placing an order online and as soon as they pay for it, you want the kitchen to begin production of that, and so therefore to be notified, they could have a tablet or a screen in the kitchen that is just set to watch for subscribe to these to a channel that is that would accept that notification. So the kitchen would get a sound and an order, and they could go to work, and then, you know, you could pass it on to the next step where the kitchen finishes the order. They pass that on to the front desk to say, hey, come pick up this and deliver the order, or make it available to the customer when they come in. So in a case where you have multiple people involved in a real-time process and you need the next one to be notified in a kind of a passive way that it's real-time notification, but not a high CPU, not a multiple refresh. It's just they just get notified and they can move on with the activity. So another practical example is an executive sales dashboard, and I've seen this many times where an executive in the corner office wants to be able to see that see the activity that's going on in the company, and so I've set up and they don't want to interact with it. They just want to be able to see key metrics going on, and so this demonstration shows a real time. I have a kind of a fake job here in the background that I'm going to turn on that places orders, that enters order records into a database, and every time it enters an order record in the database, it says, hey, refresh this, refresh the dashboard. So I've demonstrated here on the left, it's an action form that has total sales, total items, the last order number, the last order date. So at a glance, you can see the progress is being made in sales. And then on the rep, on the right, I've got a breakdown by sales representative, who's selling the most, and how many items and the sales amounts that they've made. So again, an executive could sit and see any of the key metrics of your company just on sitting on a dashboard. So I'm going to stop that and flip back again to our presentation. And a third example, and we'll see, I'll demonstrate a little bit about this in a minute when we conclude our game, but customer service co-browsing. If you have an application where somebody is browsing a website and starts a chat or a telephone conversation with customer service can actually direct the customer to different pages on your website. So bring them, for example, to a different product, or help them fill in a form on the page, or even push a coupon onto their page, a specific coupon. But whatever you can imagine in terms of interacting with that customer, they can co-browse with them. So again, I'll demonstrate an example of that after our tournament. So the tournament, we set up a rock, paper, scissors tournament, and this was Texas 42 is a little esoteric, and it's also a 4-player game. We wanted something that we could demonstrate this technology in a fun way, and everybody who wants to get involved can get involved. So we hope that you'll jump in on our tournament here in a minute. For those of you who never had a childhood, I'm going to go over the rules. Rock, paper, scissors. 2 players are going to play at a time, and each person that's playing chooses and throws. You're going to see that come up in a minute. And then very simple rules. Rock breaks scissors. So if a rock and a scissors show up, the rock wins. Paper covers rock, so paper wins. And scissors cuts paper, so paper wins. So you're going to see this on the screen as a rock, a paper, and a scissors. When it's your turn to play, you'll hear a little ding, ding, ding if you have your sound turned on. But you'll also see the rock, the paper, and the scissors show up on your screen. If you're not the current player, then then you won't see that. But when you are the player, and everybody who's playing is going to get a chance, this will show up, and you'll use the throw button. You'll pick either a rock or a paper or a scissors to throw. And when you do, and the other person also plays, you're going to see the results. So a rock and a paper, in this case, this Reza would win because his paper covers rock. And just a word of instruction, when that happens, when you win, go ahead and click the wins button, because that'll advance the tournament on to the next 2 players. So watch for your name to show up and get ready to play. So the link to play is this one, and hopefully we'll find that one in the chat window as well, but it's bit.ly/MBI-RPS, rocks, paper, scissors. And it's going to take you to a form that asks for first name, last name, email. First name, last name is required because we need your name so that we can know when it's time to play. Email is optional, and so let's go there now. And I'm going to navigate there as well, and then we'll give you a couple minutes to get over there. Notice that as players come in, you're going to see the names show up in the player list. Each player, as they enter, is going to show up there, and that's, again, part of the example of co-browsing. So I'm going to give just a couple more minutes for everyone to get in. And actually, if you're still working to get in, find that link, make your way in. But we're going to start the tournament, and you'll still have a chance to get in if you jump in. So here we go. I'm going to start the match, and Alex and Mark are playing, and so each of you, if you would hit throw, here we go. Okay, Alex A wins. So go ahead and hit the wins button and we'll go on to play with somebody else.
Mark, we'll get back to you. Mark also has a question in the Q&A. Don't be sad for the tournament, but we'll get back, we'll get the question answered at least.
Okay, we had a tie. Somebody hit the tie button.
No, this actually gets very competitive at some point.
Yes, we're on round one, and if you've won, you'll get to play again when it comes back around to you. So Jim, go ahead and hit the wins button so that you're advance into the next round. So now we're on to Alex and Craig playing. Oh, a tie.
Hmm.
And Andre came out. Adam. Tied, Adam and Bill. Okay, here we go. Persistent, okay. Nobody wants to give up their spot.
Yeah, this is very competitive.
Sorry, Adam. So as we play, Bogdan won in our test tournament, and he's going to try and advance again. But this tournament actually comes with a cash prize. Well, not a cash prize, an Amazon prize. So you really want to try and work to win this one. However, we're not actually we're going to award it to non-employees only. So if you're playing and you win and you're an employee, we're going to advance back to the last one before the last guest, and that'll be the winner. And this is really a humongous prize from Amazon. You'll be able to buy, I think, some new paper and paper clips with all the money that we're about to put into your hands.
Can you buy a pet rock with it?
Buy a what?
Pet rock.
Oh yeah, a pet rock. That would be great. Buy a pet rock. Set it on top of your scissors. Okay. Good job, Alex. You're coming around. Andre and Bill. Oh, Bogdan got eliminated this time. Luck did not hold.
Yeah, usually when you play internally, Bogdan always wins. Seems like he has some vision into the future, or into DNN.
All right, we're coming down to the semifinals here. As you can tell, I am not a rock, paper, scissors play-by-play announcer. I'm not professional. Okay, nobody wants to give up the rock.
This is very tight.
All right, Andre. All right, finals, Alex and Andre. And we have a winner.
Good job.
Okay, very good. And I'm glad we came down to a winner, and I wanted to mention, I did mention that we were going to also demonstrate a little bit of the co-browsing, and I've got that set up here. So I have a button here that I'm going to click that's going to redirect you to our home page, and so you get to see my picture and my fake brick wall behind me. So that's just kind of an example of how you can set up the co-browsing to push people around on your website, especially if you're doing a cooperative browsing session. So one more time, I'm going to switch back to our presentation, and if you would switch to the presentation as well. So we've done pretty good on time. I see we're doing well. I'm just going to give you a few takeaways from today. One of the things we learned is that Plant an App is not just for business. You can use it to do games and other co-browsing kinds of things, and it's possible to do easily develop the multiple user applications if you put event notification into place. And just to give you an idea, on rock, paper, scissors, I spent 4 or 5 hours developing the game, but I spent half an hour adding the multi-user event notification. So it really can be quite simple. And then, you know, this is true. It's kind of a low-code rule. It can bring your development costs down, and it can bring applications within reach. So, you know, there's no way we could develop a game like this in and make it make sense for just a one-time use in something like .NET web development, but low code made it really quite easy. And the other thing that's kind of been lurking behind the scenes, I mentioned it here in the beginning, but the part where this is device agnostic, where it can run on a computer or a tablet or phone. I mean, if you were, I don't know if anybody was playing on anything but a computer today, but it would, the games that you've seen would run on a computer or a tablet or a phone. The dashboard would run on a phone or a tablet. So it really, without any downloads, really makes that possible. With regard to co-browsing, the solution that I found, and I'm sure there are other solutions, but Pusher.com and their channels product is the one that we implemented, and it definitely can be implemented in both Plant an App and DNN Sharp projects. And I don't sell for them. I'm just doing a little legwork for you. Plans start at $49 a month, but there is a free starter plan that gives you 100 connections and 200,000 messages a day. So if you are interested at all in trying to get this done, it's really inexpensive, at least to get started. And then finally, from an MBI perspective, we certainly offer a package that will let you do this real-time notification using either Plant an App or DNN Sharp through variables or my tokens. And we do low-code application and development and support, and we'd be happy to help with this or other needs. And finally, I mentioned that we have a free low-code training video on our website. If you go to our website and do /training, this will talk all about, it will tell you exactly how to do geocoding using client data, and it'll show you step-by-step how to do that through the Google API and Plant an App. So I hope that's helpful for you, useful for you.
Hey, Ben. Thank you, Dale. It was great, and I hope everyone had some fun with rock, paper, scissors. Also, I see Reza and Bogdan coming in. We'll be having a short Q&A here, and I'll try to kick it off with what I see both in the chat and the Q&A section. I'll start with the latest one because I think it might be possible to do it right now or maybe even do it another time. So Jim asks this: can you give us step-by-step demo of co-browsing? It was hard to tell what co-browsing was when you had to jump between Zoom and a browser. I'm
sorry, can I do what?
If we can give a step-by-step demo of co-browsing. Maybe just showcase how you took us to the home screen would impact the browser.
Sure. So I'd be happy to show that to you again. And I'm sorry that I was. if you would go back to, let's go back in our presentation to the MBI, so it's bit.ly MBI-RPS. Let's see if I can.
I can put in the link again and
that would be great.
Zoom.
And so I'm going to do the same thing.
So Jim and everyone that's interested, you should now go to your browser. So just go out of the Zoom, go to your browser to that link, and you should be able to see actually your screen changing because Dale's operating that as a customer support representative would. Is that
Right,
correct?
and you don't actually have to fill in the form again. Don't worry about that. For anyone who's there, when I hit the home page now, it's going to jump you to the home page. So Jim, did you get to see that now? Hopefully that. And I'd be happy to do a one-on-one with anybody that wants to see this. I actually have a more involved demonstration on my website where I can send people to any page, and it's done. You could either send every visitor to a given page, or you can pick out a specific visitor and send them to a page. So it works either way. Be happy to do that demo.
I would even chime in, just getting creative. There is the ability very easily in the system to detect what page you're on, right? And so if you wanted to have your visitor or the person you're supporting follow you around in the application, you could probably pretty easily wire something up that would just take where you are and push that to the user. So it doesn't have to be like predefined button for this page only. But if you're having a bit of an organic experience and saying, oh yeah, we have that over here, let me show you how that's done, they can kind of probably get pulled around just if you kept that page you're on as a variable.
That's really a good point, Reza. I had envisioned that as being pushed around, but pulled around makes a lot of sense in that scenario too. And as I mentioned, the pieces are all there to be able to do things like when they get there, to push a coupon to their particular browser, or to while you're filling in a form, being able to, I fill in the form on my screen and it goes to your followers or your chat form as well. So very cooperative experience.
Oh, there is also we also have some helpful feedback from Mark, but we also have some questions, and they came about. I remember at the moment you were showing the Texas 42 browsers, and the questions are: could you set the action grid to refresh on a time interval instead? Are there concerns for doing it this way?
So. Time interval was really one of my worst case scenario solution. Yes, you could certainly set it to refresh automatically, but what that does is it forces it to be querying the server over and over again on whatever the interval. In order to make it responsive, it would have to be every second or so in my case, and that for me that wasn't feasible. So. That's why I went in search of Pusher, but you could definitely set up refreshing by a timer. Absolutely.
Okay. Next question from Jen. Do you have any examples for mobile? Just wanted to see what the Chrome browsing part might look like, since there are several modules on that page.
Sure. So the Texas 42 link that we did actually it's responsive, and I've played it on a mobile as well as on a tablet, and it works the same way. And we could switch to that if anyone was interested, but that same link that you've already been using would do that.
Okay. Anyone else? Any questions you would like to ask Bogdan or Reza or Dale? And one just came in as I was saying that. So, can Plant an app be independent from the DNN platform, especially if you use DNN Sharp modules?
So Plant an app is based on the DNN platform and the DNN Sharp module. So if you use Plant an app, you're actually using DNN Sharp, and some new modules that Plant an app adds. So you cannot take it out of DNN.
However, I would say you could essentially use it as a headless backend through the API capabilities. And so then if you wanted to use a different, technology to deliver the front end, mobile, whatever, and as long as it can call out and process responses from an API, then you're free to do whatever, right? So you can contain all your backend logic and data and things like that and workflows in Plant an app, but then you're free to deliver the front end experience any way you like.
Good question.
Yeah, and we also have one from Ben. How did you play a sound from the DNN Sharp module? Is it something that you could also do on mobile devices?
Mobile is a little bit different. It's possible, but mobile has some protections built into it that, from what I can tell, you have to allow the user has to explicitly allow the sound to happen. But behind the scenes, it's pretty simple JavaScript where you load an audio file through HTML and then play it through a very simple. You find the audio file and do the play operation in JavaScript, and it plays the sound. So from a browser or tablet, I think it's very straightforward. From a mobile, they would actually have to click and allow that to happen.
Great. So I think that was all of the questions. Just like to take this minute to thank you very much, Dale, for giving us such a fun walkthrough for a lot of things, and giving us the opportunity to actually get to play something. One just came in right now from Jem. So does Pusher send commands in the context of the local browser, so it would be possible to access a local device? You can check it out in the Q&A.
Yeah, Pusher has a number of client codes, and what I elected to use was the JavaScript module. So you add some JavaScript to your local browser, to the browser page that's being rendered, that goes out, and it's maybe 30 lines of JavaScript that I've got going on, but it goes out and registers and registers a JavaScript function, and then at the point that a notification comes in, and bear in mind you're only going to get notified about the channels that you're listening for. So other notifications that's happening on the same game server aren't even impacting you at all. But for whatever channels you're listening for, when that happens, you actually get a data payload that can be, I think it's 1 or 2K bytes of data that can come in that you can, in a JSON format that you can use any or all of the variables. So you can do a lot more with it than what I've done. I'm focusing on refreshing the screen, but you could do a lot more with it. And it's just local JavaScript.
Great.
So, I developed the game, as I said, and we were playing it along with friends, and I happened to email Bogdan about that and say, hey, this is a cool thing, just kind of on a lark, and he immediately jumped in and said, well, this is kind of interesting and fun. So, Bogdan, thank you so much for recognizing that it might be something of interest to your team and that it might have a wider implication for your audience. So thanks for that.
Thanks, Dale, and thanks for putting the effort to show us and the community what you've built. I think it's awesome, and it provides a better user experience than refreshing the screen or having delays.
So if anybody wants to play Texas 42, we play on Friday nights, and email me. We'll deal you in.
Thank you, and I hope everyone has some inspiration on what they can do in their own cases with co-browsing and even internally, even with their clients. Thank you, Dale, for inspiring us today. Thank you for giving some fun back, and it was great.
Absolutely, it was my pleasure.
Thanks.
Thanks, Dale, and thanks everyone for being here.
Yeah, we will be sending out a follow-up. If you can just fill in the 2-minute survey on what we're doing with these webinars and what would you like to see going forward, that really helps us. That really helps us make our decisions, because we want to base all that we do around the DNN community and the general low-code community. It's what matters to us is that you guys have a good time when we meet. And we hope we meet again soon.